This is not a tutorial.
I think we're ready to give this a try. This will be the first actual test of turning something on the lathe. And I've cut these little brass pieces. Mini saw. That sounded cool. These are 1/8 of an inch diameter, which unfortunately I have a 30 collet and I have a 40 collet, but this is like 3.1 or 3.2, so it's not going to fit in the collet. Thank you, Imperial System. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this. Meet my buddy, Chuck Jacobs. Hello, Chuck. So we're going to use this chuck to hold this because this is pretty much infinitely adjustable, I think up to a 1/4 inch. So let's just run it through. First, I don't need the tailstock, so let's put the tailstock aside. I'm going to run this at the slowest speed I've got, which means little wheel on the motor and the big wheel on the cone pulley. So I'm just going to visually line that up right about there. And I have the motor is hinged, so just the weight of the motor provides the tension to keep the pulley, to keep the two engaged. Let's just make sure that this is running true. So as with the belt on now, I can visually line it up a little bit better. Okay, we're going to plug it in. I have a little inline on-off switch here. We do have power. Turn it off. Okay. We'll take that out just for a second. And let's see. Let's give it a little run, see if it goes. It goes! Okay, that's a great first start. Next, let's find the key. It slides in, and then we engage the thread on that tailpiece. All right, and just kind of grab everything there. There we go. And let's just make sure it still runs true with the Jacobs chuck in place. And it does nicely. We have the lathe going in this direction, so the top is coming down and toward me. Let's chuck up a piece of our victim here. Okay, this uses a conventional chuck key. All right, let's turn it on again and see if our piece of brass is running true. Looks pretty good. Good enough to experiment with. So here we go. All right, I've just accidentally taken off my tool rest. Let's slide this back, flip that up. And with brass, I want it to be a little bit high. I'm just going to set that right about at the midpoint as far as height. And the reason I'm saying I want to be a little bit high is I don't want to stab into the brass. There we go. Okay, not touching still. Let's see. So let me make sure everything's tightened down. Tight, tight, tight. Don't go anywhere. All right. I'm a little bit safety conscious. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where little pieces are going to go. And so now let me just practice bringing this in. Yeep, yeep. So that's kind of my move like that right there. That's my move. Angle. Okay. First time actually using the lathe. Well, that was fairly unremarkable. And I guess that's what's called chatter, because it was chattering. Let's make a little modification here, and I'm going to try to clean up the end. Okay, so I want to come in sort of from this side and then push towards the center to clean up that side. I feel like I want to go just a little bit lower with the tool rest. And of course, since this is handheld, you can adjust your height, you can micro adjust it by moving your hands up and down. At least so I've been learning in theory. Let's see how this goes. And I know I put a nice center in there, completely accidentally. I can't wait to see this under the microscope. Let's go back to the side view here. I think I'll try cutting with the tip again. Well, that was exciting. I can actually see little curls coming off the tip of the graver, which is what you want. Okay, one more pass. Hey, I made something. It's so tiny, but I'm happy in such a big way.
Well, that was fun. I mean, that was really fun. Let's take a look at our piece under the microscope. Oh, right. There it is. Can we see better against that background? Yes, why, yes we can. Okay. I don't know what I made, but I made that. What about the end? Wow. So I made some grooves and I tried to soften the end and I ended up not. I ended up making like a little center bump there. And then I tried my hand at some softer curves there. So there you go. My first attempt at turning metal and my first attempt at using a watchmaker's lathe. Awesome. So where do we go from here? Well, first thing is I really need to see if I can get that other graver tip looking better than this. because I know this just isn't sharp the way it's supposed to be. My concerns are that in grinding it, perhaps I change the temper and change the hardness. I'm only cutting brass here, but it should cut through that brass like a knife through hot butter. And it's not, but that's okay. It was fun to go through the motions. So what's next? I have some steel bar here, and I'm hoping that I can grind this and use this to make a graver. I have this little honing jig and the steel bar goes in here like I showed in my previous video, and then this is supposed to tighten down, and then you could set the angle and you can come back and forth and hone this down to the right thickness. But I got to tell you, this just doesn't feel secure. If you get this part of the bar down into this right angle and it's holding it, angle to angle, tip to tip, the problem I'm having is that little screw really doesn't have much to grab onto. It's not tightening down because this soft metal right in there is getting hung up on the sharp metal of this bar. So I suppose I can sacrifice one of these edges. If I was able to grind a flat somewhere on this edge just to knock down that sharp edge, then perhaps that flat would allow this screw to clamp down without twisting or without it biting into the bottom of the screw. That's the only way I think this little jig will ever be helpful. What else? Hardening, tempering, and annealing to set the graver at a particular hardness so it holds its edge. Right now, my biggest question is sort of when do you do it? Should you grind this down to size? Is it okay to grind this on the big shop grinder to get it close? And then, hone it to a closer edge? And at what point in that process do you temper it? I don't know. I'm a little bit fuzzy on that. So if you know, please share in the comments below. Well, I'll wrap it up right here. Thank you for watching this is not a tutorial video on lathe gravers. I know this is kind of trivial, but I had a tremendous amount of fun getting to this point. As silly as that may seem, this is where I'm starting. I'm hoping to look back upon this in a year's time and to be able to mark all the progress that I made, and I'm hoping you follow me on that journey. Thank you for watching. I'm Mike. The channel is Watch with Mike. I look forward to our next time together.